Hi, everybody, and welcome to City Beat. I am your host, Nancy Byrne, and we are coming to you from a very busy lobby here at Las Vegas City Hall, the first floor and the Grand Gallery, where I am standing in front of a lot of beautiful women. All right, well, they're mannequins, but they're wearing beautiful costumes, and we're going to talk more about this exhibit just a little bit later on in the program. But first, it's hard to believe, but 15 years ago, the city of Las Vegas celebrated the grand opening of a facility that not only stands out because of its architectural design, designed by Frank Gehry, but also because of what is going to take place inside, and that is hope for the so many people suffering from neurological diseases and their loved ones. It is the Lou Ruvo Center for Brain Health. We stopped by the facility to talk to the staff there about what they see as standout milestones over the past 15 years. The grand opening of the Cleveland Clinic Lou Ruvo Center for Brain Health on July 13, 2009 was the culmination of the dreams, dedication, and hard work of Larry Ruvo and his family, as well as Las Vegas city leaders. All involved knew having a treatment and research center of this magnitude in the heart of Las Vegas was no gamble in this city of chance. It was a sure bet. It would serve the needs of so many suffering from neurological diseases, their loved ones, and caregivers. We sat down with the medical director of the clinic to look back at the last 15 years. Dr. Dylan Wint sees the most important accomplishments as less focused on medicine and more on people.
There are hundreds of thousands of visits that would not have happened. That means hundreds of thousands of interactions between patients, caregivers, and people who both understand the science and medicine of things, but also take time to understand what we're doing here.
But of course, the treatments and research being done here are also vitally important and groundbreaking, starting with the area of prevention and reducing the risk of Alzheimer's and other dementias.
For a very long time, it was thought nothing could be done to avoid these conditions, so your fate was set in stone. And then we started realizing that, well, some of the vascular components and even some of the vascular dementias, so these are caused by reduction of blood flow to the brain, that by controlling vascular risk factors, we can reduce those risks.
Improving vascular health often involves changing behavior, but those changes can significantly change the neurological path of a person's life.
Now we realize that through having a heart-healthy lifestyle, essentially, that we call, of course, a brain-healthy lifestyle, that people can reduce their risk, some estimate by as much as 30 or 40% of developing Alzheimer's or other dementias.
Aside from discovering how lifestyle can aid in reducing risk, there have been major breakthroughs in medicines to do the same.
Those medicines remove from the brain a protein called amyloid, which is part of the definition of Alzheimer's disease. A lot of people think of it as kind of the gatekeeper to Alzheimer's disease, that it gets things rolling. And if you can remove amyloid early enough, you can have a substantial impact on the progression of the disease.
For those already showing cognitive signs of early Alzheimer's or other neurological diseases, this discovery is groundbreaking.
This really is a huge moment. The fact that we have found a way to target the disease process itself and to slow down that disease process.
The hope is by combining vascular health and these new medicines, eventually we can go from a 30% reduction in progression to as high as 75%. Another area of pride here, care. Here is not only focused on the patient, caregivers have been a top priority here from day one.
We were doing caregiver education and caregiver support here before we saw our first patient. Patient care is supported by medical insurance and so forth. Caregiver care, education, not so much.
Studies and research are also priorities. This is one of the largest clinical trial sites for Alzheimer's and other neurological diseases. Dr. Wint says they have completed so many important trials, even though getting research participants is a trial in itself. Not everyone who volunteers qualifies.
Biggest obstacle that we've faced over the years in making progress in these diseases is lack of sufficient research participants. The sooner you can fill up a study with research participants, the sooner you can get results, and put that drug on the market, or learn that that drug's no good and you got to move on to the next one, or understand how Alzheimer's disease affects a certain group of people differently than another.
Another mission here is to share the knowledge gained in this clinic with future medical professionals. Since the clinic opened, 4 fellowship programs have been developed. A woman's Alzheimer's movement prevention center is part of the landscape here, since women are diagnosed with the disease at twice the rate as men. The list of accomplishments goes on. So while this wonderfully quirky building has grabbed the attention of tourists and architects over the last 15 years, it's what takes place inside that is truly worthy of our attention. Research, education, treatment, and support for patients and their loved ones. It's what they've done here for 15 years, and fortunately for all of us, it's what they intend to keep doing.
Discovery for the sake of discovery. It's not about even treatment for the sake of treatment. It's about fundamentally making lives better and fuller by treating the patient who's here in front of us now in the clinic, and also learning and developing so that we can treat the patient of the future even better than we do now. And that's really what we're about.
It's hard to believe it's been 15 years. Now, if you are interested in participating in any of the research taking place there, you can go to clevelandclinic.org/Nevada Research. Well, something else that has kind of snuck up on us is the end of summer and beginning of the school year, and it's time for those parents to take out the cameras and their cell phones and take those back to school or first day of school photos to share on social media. But what a lot of people don't realize is those photos can actually pose a danger to your child. Crystal Allen tells us now how you can capture those moments without capturing the attention of the wrong viewers.
It's a yearly tradition. Back to school photos, a cute and creative way to kick off the new school year. But before parents post that perfect pic, there's a basic yet important rule to keep in mind. Heather Doto is a program manager for Nevada Child Seekers, an organization committed to protecting children and advocating for missing kids. When it comes to those back-to-school photos, she says,
if there's anything identifiable, you want to keep it out of the image.
So what counts as identifiable information? We put a few parents to the test. We asked them what info is okay and not okay to share on back-to-school photos.
Is it okay to include your child's school on a back-to-school photo? No.
As a rule, you should avoid sharing info about your child's school, grade level, teacher, or school logo or mascot. It's all info that can identify your child and invite unwanted attention.
While we think it might just be family and friends, we may be inviting some unwanted individuals to our child's school. Is it okay to include your child's name on one of those back-to-school photos?
No, I don't want people knowing my kids' names or where they go to school or any of that information.
And when it comes to your child's activities, hobbies, and interests, best to leave those out as well. But Doto says sometimes it's not a single picture that makes your child vulnerable. It's the compilation of pictures and information you post online.
Maybe a back to school photo combined with a vacation photo and a couple other photos in a photo album, putting that information together. They might share their jersey number, and maybe they'll post every day at the same time after school that they're at practice. Well, now this predator knows what time this child's at practice. Maybe they can figure out what park that practice is occurring on. And now they know the jersey number to know exactly which child is the one that is your child. So things like that give them the opportunity to maybe, now I can follow you home.
It's an open invite to track you and your child's movements. Doto says never underestimate a predator.
A lot of people think that predators aren't willing to go the extra mile, but they are. They're willing to spend hours on social media compiling these things together.
So what are some simple ways to protect your child when you post? For back-to-school photos, stick to generic messages like back to school 2024. Take advantage of privacy settings and customize your online profiles so you know who's seeing your post. Have people in your list tag you. That way you know when they share your photos. And try to set boundaries with friends and family when it comes to sharing photos you post.
Talking about family, a majority of the time it's the family that leaves their own kids or family members exposed because they're sharing and sharing and sharing and sharing without even considering what they're sharing.
According to a February 2024 study from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, 98% of their cases involved a child being enticed online.
I don't want them to get in the habit of sharing too much about themselves. I don't share too much about myself. So I'm trying to teach them what I do.
As your kids head back to school, taking simple steps and thinking before you post can help them stay safe all year long.
Thank you, Crystal Allen, for that story. We're going to stay on this safety theme just a little bit longer. You may have heard there is a new crime prevention tool on Fremont Street Experience. It's a police substation. It has everything from K9 Scarlet to surveillance cameras, and it's helping our officers prevent and solve crimes. We get a unique look inside from Desa Westbay from our city's social media department.
Hi, my name's Scarlett, and I'm the bomb-sniffing dog for the Department of Public Safety. And I'm gonna take you on a tour through the Fremont Street substation. Just kidding, it's me. But let's follow Scarlett into the substation.
So K9 Scarlett and I are based out of the Fremont Street substation, where I have my office where she stays with me. Today we did a training situation with K9 Scarlett on the Fremont Street Experience. She was looking for a ½ pound of smokeless powder, which is typically used in firearm ammunition, but can also be used in explosives as well. We took Scarlett out on Fremont Street and we searched around until she got to a location where she caught the odor of the smokeless powder and pulled me to it, and then sat on it and got her ball.
Aren't you just a good girl? Aren't you just a good girl? Yes, you are. I'm here with
Lieutenant Timothy Mullins. I'm the lieutenant overseeing operations at the Fremont Street substation, and I'll be taking you along a tour today.
Let's go.
All right, follow me to the lobby, please. So this is where it all begins here. Primarily, it is for the citizens that are victims of crime or they have other concerns that are staying here in the hotels or that are just frequenting Fremont Street as tourists. This is staffed by Metro officers. It's actually 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay, if you'll come with me. It says conference room here, but kind of doubles as a technology operations center. We do have cameras that do rotate to track offenders that are out there. This is Fremont Street Security. This is their administration section. And this is their surveillance room. This surveillance room is an invaluable resource for us. This is different than our technology operations center over there in that they are actively looking at live feeds. So they oftentimes communicate with Fremont Street security officers that are out there in the field, along with the marshals that are out there in the field. They keep an eye on everything, the buskers that are out there, the various businesses, the patrons, the tourists. This is our interview room where we will conduct our interviews and interrogations. Should we have a suspect in custody, then we'll have a couple of officers or detectives coming in here. Our problem-oriented policing unit operates out of this office here. They're out there in the field doing great work right now. Property storage, this is actually our evidence vault. The main evidence vault personnel, they come and they take out the evidence daily. Okay, here's our briefing room. This is where our marshals will get together. So leadership, sergeants, and lieutenants will sit up here, disseminate information, whatever the word of the day is or whatever we are looking for, crime trends, individuals that might have caused significant issues there on Fremont Street or various hotels. Over here, this is the Metro Sergeant office. And here is our multi-purpose kitchen. This is used by marshal officers, Metro officers, and Fremont Street Security because they also operate out of this building.
Thank you, Desa, for that tour inside the new police substation. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, if you have a pet, heads up. There's something you need to do if you haven't already done it. It's not just the right thing to do, it's the law.
Remember this date, August 1st. That's when dogs and cats must be microchipped under a new city ordinance. Myth versus fact. Microchips hurt pets. Myth. It's like getting a vaccine, no anesthesia needed. Microchips are GPS trackers. Myth. A unique number connects to a database when scanned. Owner info is protected. Microchips must be registered. Fact. Keep your contact info current with the microchipping company or the chip is virtually useless. Microchips save pets' lives. Fact. They get pets home and keep shelters from overcrowding. Contact the Animal Foundation, Heaven Can Wait, or Hearts Alive for more information.
Welcome back to City Beat from the Grand Gallery on the first floor of City Hall. I'm standing in front of a bunch of gorgeous costumes, and we're going to tell you the story behind this exhibit a little bit later on. But first of all, a few years ago, the city of Las Vegas, right here in these chambers, passed an ordinance aimed at ending the tragic pet overpopulation in our community. So if you have a pet, listen up. We're about to tell you there's no excuse not to take this important step. 3 million adoptable pets are being euthanized every year in this country. How can we change this heartbreaking trend? Well, it's really quite simple.
Overpopulation is the largest cause of unnecessary euthanasia.
If you have a pet, spaying and neutering is the only way for us to turn the tide on this trend and cut down on the loss of animals that could otherwise be loving pets. The nonprofit Heaven Can Wait is one of several organizations in our community that offers high-quality, low-cost pet services, including spay and neutering. The staff here says a big part of the problem is there are misconceptions surrounding the process. So let's clear those up right now. Spaying and neutering is painful for pets. False.
The animals are under anesthesia the entire time, and we never send an animal home without pain medications. It's not a painful during or after they'll be medicated.
The surgery will change my pet's personality. Now, this can be true, but not in a negative way.
There's a lot of behaviors that they have with that testosterone, with that estrogen, that will be changed for the positive. Animals are less likely to roam, which means they're trying to go find a mate. They're less likely to become aggressive, and they're less likely to mark their territory.
Spaying and neutering is unnatural and unhealthy. False. There's medical evidence it improves the overall health of your pet.
For females, it's pyometra, which is a deadly uterine infection. That's completely eliminated, and the risk of mammary cancer is also very much reduced. For the males, testicular cancer is completely eliminated, and prostate cancer is also reduced.
Spaying or neutering my one pet won't make a difference. False.
A single cat can produce 7,000 kittens in a matter of years with her and her offspring as well. So just spaying or neutering one cat can make a huge difference.
For dogs, more than 500 puppies can be born from one dog and her offspring over 7 years. So yes, your single pet can make a big difference. And finally, the procedure is too expensive. Well, not necessarily. Heaven Can Wait is one of several organizations dedicated to eliminating overpopulation by making spaying and neutering affordable.
They start at very, very low prices. If somebody has SNAP or Medicaid, they're even lower. If you have military discounts, we offer. So we just really want to be able to get these services out to the public. We want to let them know that we're here to help.
The help is here. You need only accept it. On behalf of all the pets, hoping for a forever home. And keep in mind, if you live in the city of Las Vegas, it's the law to spay and neuter any pet 4 months or older, unless you're a licensed breeder. It's time for another break, but as promised, when we come back, more information on this spectacular exhibit I stand before. Stay with us. Remember this number, 3 million. That's how many adoptable dogs and cats are euthanized each year in this country due to overpopulation. Let's address some of the myths about spaying and neutering. It's unhealthy for pets. Myth. It's been proven to increase their lifespan and can prevent certain deadly infections and cancers. It will change my pet's personality. Myth. It does affect a pet's behavior for the better. Issues such as roaming, barking, aggression can all be reduced or eliminated. Spaying or neutering one pet won't make a difference. Myth. In 7 years, nearly 5,000 kittens and more than 500 puppies can be born from one pet and her offspring. It's not just the responsible thing for pet owners to do, it's the law in the city of Las Vegas for pets 4 months and older, with the exception of licensed breeders. Contact Heaven Can Wait for more information on their low-cost, high-quality pet care, including spay and neutering and microchipping. Congratulations to the City of Las Vegas Employee of the Month, Grant Strong. Grant is a heavy equipment operator and has been with the city since 1995. Grant is a role model in the Streets and Sanitation Division. His loyal service, dedication, and performance serve as an amazing example for his colleagues. Not only is he knowledgeable in his field, but he's always willing to take the time to teach others and is a vital part of getting jobs done. Through the highs and lows of his almost 30-year career, he has maintained a great outlook. He's one of the true unsung heroes who work for our city, putting citizens and our infrastructure first. For his dedicated service, we say congratulations to Grant Strong, the City of Las Vegas Employee of the Month. Welcome back to City Beat from the Grand Gallery on the first floor of City Hall. I stand before a new exhibit called Spectacle of the Showgirl. We recently had the chance to sit down with the man who not only owns these costumes and thousands more, but is just about single-handedly responsible from rescuing many of them from retirement. Spectacular shows like Jubilee and Hallelujah Hollywood may be part of Las Vegas history, but the showgirl lives on.
People still come to Vegas seeking out that showgirl. People use the image of a showgirl everywhere, trying to get people enticed to come to Vegas. And it is a vital part, not only of our history, but of our future.
Grant Filippo knows better than most about iconic Las Vegas shows, showgirls, and showboys. Not only was he a performer in many of these dazzling displays of beauty and talent, he was also one of the top designers of the costumes that graced the grand stages. A little hobby he picked up that turned into an obsession and collection at the tender age of 15.
My great-grandmother gave me a swimsuit that she had made for her in 1915 that was extremely scandalous. No sleeves, very little leggings. And it's 109 years old. It's the very first thing I ever collected. And it is the oldest thing in the collection.
Filippo moved to Las Vegas in 1976 when the showrooms were still filled with extravagant spectaculars. That's when he began his performing career, which eventually led to his passion for what you might call rescuing retired costumes.
And I had no clue what I was going to do with any of it, but I bought it. I wanted to protect it. I've always loved history. So I ended up just buying this stuff and dragging it with me.
While still performing, he began renovating costumes when money allowed and building and designing for his own shows like 90 Degrees and Rising. Fast forward to today, and his collection is now 40,000 ensembles strong and can be seen in his Las Vegas Showgirl Museum in Las Vegas. And for now, you can see a small part of that collection in the Grand Gallery on the first floor of Las Vegas City Hall. He shared some stories with us about the pieces he chose for this display.
The pearls are my design and build, and my show, 90 Degrees and Rising, which was at the Dunes, the second largest and the second to the last show, that was used in my show at the Dunes. Anything that's red, yellow, and orange in this set, that is Pete Menefee. And that was the original opening of Jubilee. My absolute favorite piece that I ever designed and built is the centerpiece of it.
That's the Black and Red Beauty, which he built in a near non-stop session for 3 days. He continues to refurbish pieces that have a story to tell, like this, called the Gold Cage, a Bob Mackie and Ray Agian design.
The Gold Cage probably cost around $40,000 just to restore it. And as much of the original that I could keep, I kept.
You may wonder, as I did, how such slender showgirls manage to carry the weight of something like the Gold Cage. Well, a lot of work goes into making sure these pieces not only look breathtaking, but are not so cumbersome they literally take the showgirl's breath away.
That big cage, as enormous as it looks, it only weighs about 9 pounds, and it is perfectly balanced and distributed on your body. It's one of the easiest backpacks to wear.
Bottom line is Grant Filippo believes these costumes are not meant to be simply collected and coveted. They're to be shared, which is why he curates the Las Vegas Showgirl Museum, where everyone can see the pearls, feathers, sequins, and rhinestones that are weaved into these works of art and into the tapestry we call Las Vegas history.
I've fortunately never had anyone who has physically come and taken the tour that didn't love it, and that's really important.
If you would like to visit the museum, it is by appointment only. Go to LasVegasShowgirlMuseum.com for more information and to make an appointment. Well, from showgirls to sharks, there's actually a place in Las Vegas where you can swim with the sharks. Sort of. Crystal Allen has more.
We stopped by for Shark Days at the Golden Nugget. Let's take a dive into the tank pool. So, what's inside the tank? Sand sharks. They're the only sharks that come up to the surface to breathe. They use air in their stomachs to float motionless in water. Next up, nurse sharks. They're nocturnal and prefer to swim at night. There's black-tip reef sharks, a lightweight, size-wise, compared to the other sharks. And zebra sharks. It's a protected species. Biologists at the tank pool are working to reintroduce their offspring into the wild. And finally, stingrays, a cousin of the shark, sometimes called a flat shark because of its body shape. And now for a few stats on the aquarium. It's a 200,000-gallon water tank with 4 species of sharks and more than 24 species of fish. And these fin favorites have names like Bowie, Stevie, and Jet. See the theme here? Time to take a trip to the top of the tank. That's Andy, our tour guide, an all-around awesome marine biologist. He says sharks are fed 3 times a week while fish are fed every day. It's also a chance for Andy and his team to check on the animals' health for things like how they're eating, their swimming patterns, and if they're pregnant, like this black-tip reef shark. The team still isn't sure how many pups she's carrying. Fun fact, some sharks give birth to pups, others lay eggs. Case in point, these zebra shark eggs. From shark eggs
Got some shark teeth for y'all you can take with you before we head on downstairs.
to shark teeth, we learned sharks can have as many as 6 rows of teeth in a lifetime. We're in the lab where scientists check everything from pH levels, water salinity, and bacteria in the tank.
We have a certain range we want to try to keep everything in.
It's a bit noisy downstairs, but that's where we find all the filters, pumps, and other materials and equipment for the tank. Take this hunk of salt. It would provide enough salt for 12,000 gallons of water. Remember, the tank upstairs is about 200,000 gallons. They use a lot of salt here. Fun fact, the team recycles about 90% of the water for the aquarium and other tasks. There's also a special pool for the pups and sharks who get sick until they're ready to dive into the tank pool. And for our finless friends, i.e. you and me, you can swim with the sharks during the day or night. For all you daredevils, there's a 300-foot slide that cuts right through the tank. That's our YouTuber and resident thrill seeker for the city of Las Vegas, Meredith. Then there's Night Swim. It's free and open to the public every Friday from 7 to 10 p.m. through September 20th. While you're there, check out the free Welcome to the Weekend fireworks show, courtesy of the Plaza Hotel and Casino. And for all you shark aficionados, keep an eye out for upcoming tour dates where you can learn about sharks, watch feedings, and enjoy shark-themed treats, cocktails, and swag.
Thank you, Crystal Allen, for that story. Well, that does it for the City Beat. We want to thank you for joining us. Once again, I'm standing in front of Spectacle of the Showgirl. This exhibit will be here on the first floor of City Hall through October 10th. If you'd like to see the full museum, which contains 40,000 costumes, you can go to www.LasVegasShowgirlMuseum.com. It is by appointment only. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you for the next City Beat.
Find out what's going on all over the city of Las Vegas by subscribing to the City Beat e-newsletter. Simply scan this QR code to get a preview of each show twice a month.